Okay, guys, so this is something that everybody's got. It's a towel rack, and this is after we repaired the wall. So I started by doing a couple of exploratory cuts in the drywall just to see what I'm dealing with, where the studs are. So there's no stud directly right behind where the towel rack had pulled straight out of the wall on either side. This is the side that's closest to the shower, and there's no stud right directly behind this hole either. It's to the we find out here in a couple of minutes that somebody had already tried to make this repair 3 prior times in the past. So now we're just getting ready to start putting in the backing piece of wood. So the goal here is to put this big piece of wood back behind there, so it makes it very difficult for the towel rack to pull out. It will secure to the wood. So I start off by cutting this inside piece of sheetrock about 5 inches wide, and it's pretty simple to do. You just score the sheetrock with a utility knife like 2 times, and then just kick behind it with your knee. Once you have the sheetrock folded, you can run your utility knife with a razor in it straight up the back and cut it nice and straight. And then it just comes out looking like this right here. I then cut the piece of sheetrock to the size that I want, and then I outline it so that that exact piece will go in that exact patch. I then slide the board back behind the sheetrock and then start securing it with drywall screws. My fingers are just a little too chubby to get back behind there, so I had to put a screw in the middle to hold the board and then set the 2 screws at the bottom. So now I'm doing a dry fit before I secure this piece to make sure that it fits exactly inside the space that I cut. I mark which side goes up on both the pieces, and like which one is like A is on the left and then B will be on the right side. So I'm getting ready to secure this now with the drywall screws, and you notice there on the right side, that little rectangle, that's a swatch I cut out. So now it's all secured, and you can actually see like where that swatch is. That's to do a color match, to get a little sample to cover this up. So the securing screws that are going to hold the wood as the backer need to be below the level of the sheetrock. One of the things I do when I want the finish to be absolutely perfect is I will take and cut around the patch, so that when I put the tape on staggered over the patch, that there's no seam or no bubble that's going to show through, and it's perfectly flat when the finish. Coats of paint get on there and stuff. So this is what it looks like, and you'll see here in a second when I put the mud and the tape on there how it staggers the seam. So here it is over here on the second patch over on B, and I've done exactly the same thing that you just saw me do on the first patch A. When I start putting the mud on, I'm going to go way outside of just where the patch is, so that there's not a lump that you'll be able to see when I go to sand it. So here's the closest shot I can get to show you. Like, look straight in the middle, you'll see the difference between the sheetrock and the old paint. So on this job, we're using a medium taping knife, some drywall tape, and underneath of that is a old piece of sheetrock. I just use that old piece of sheetrock with a board underneath of it as a pallet, so that I can fill the taping knife with a lot of mud. I call it mud, but it's really called all-purpose compound. And I use that paint stirrer stick to get it over onto that pallet. So here, yeah, you can just see where I put a couple screws in it, and I can hang on to the pallet now and work the mud with the taping knife. So here I've already put the first coat of mud on with the taping knife, getting ready for the tape. I'm covering seams. So here I've already put the 2 pieces of tape on top and bottom, and just showing you like where the seam actually is there at the end of my finger. about a 1/2 inch there. That's where the seam would be, but the tape has done a good job of covering it, and it will be perfectly flat with the old wall. This is actually called a Hawk and Trowel texture, and I got the first coat on there, and I gotta let this dry and then sand it down before painting. So this is a side view of it while we got a fan blowing on it right here, trying to get it to dry so I can sand it and then put the new towel bar up. I did the same thing over on the right side for where that part of the towel bar will secure to the wall, and just gotta let it dry. So behind those two patches there's like two 14-inch pieces of wood. It'll be impossible for them to just yank on the bar and pull them out. So here it is done. Just gotta take and repaint that wall, but they might change the color. So thanks for watching, guys.